Okay, let us begin the day 2 session now. Okay, welcome back to the session. Now we are going to see how do you write the data to the comma separated value file. How do you create it? So let us see the code what you are trying to just create a data frame. Now you understand that if you say data frame create means you have to create data frame using a series or reading the data. Then df is equal to p.data frame d. I'm trying to create it using the series. I'm creating it using the dictionary. Then we are trying to write the data. Let us copy the code. So you see the file is created in the current directory, which is called sample data.csv, which is created. You can see here, which is available. So let us come back to the spider. I'm creating a new file. Okay. I have to import pandas. We have to correct the errors. When you are using, it is automatically showing the errors. So we have to see what's the type of the error. And let us say I did not give it. So you can see the error here. Undefined name PD. Clearly it is mentioning. Yeah. Let us execute this file instructions now. Importing is completed. Okay, a series is created, a dictionary object is created, a data frame is created. Okay, now let us see. Here already sample is there. Let us try to remove it. Delete. So let us try to run this one because already it is available. We are trying to create. Okay, you see now the sample data is created file. You confirm the file, right click, open externally. Okay, this is the data which you have created now. Okay, so this is how do you write the data to the file. CSV file means Excel file only. You can open in Excel file or Notepad. That's what you can do it here. Okay, let us see here. Let us come to the next section. Now reading and writing from Excel files directly. Some of the data sets are provided in directly Excel also. So then how do you read and write to the Excel files? Okay, that is also very important for us. So if you want to read the Excel files, you need to have a package called XLRD, Excel read package. Needs to be installed. Okay, this is available. How do I know? I told you already this Anaconda is very friendly for data science. So already this package is installed ready for you. So you can verify here. So this is a screenshot of your package XLRD. You can go to your Anaconda and you can verify your package here. Check the package name XLRD. You see XLRD library for developers to extract data from Microsoft Excel spreadsheet files, which is available. Similar to that, if you want to write the file, you require Excel write package required. That also can be verified here. I have given the screenshot here. So just go here, Excel, writing data and formatting information to Excel file. So if these two are available, we can do this experiment. Okay. Import pandas as PD, and we are trying to read pd.read Excel. There is a file called studentperformance.xlsx. This data set is available, open data set. So I'm reading this one. And once it is read into the data frame, again, you are trying to read into the data frame. You can show the data frame in the console, or you can go to the variable explorer. You can see the data frame there. And I want to show a specific column. You can show a specific column also as the previous case. Now you can have describe to see the statistics of this particular database. That is a file data frame. You can show the database. Let us see this one. How do you do it? Okay, this is student performance dot file. Okay, let us look at now. We are trying to look at, again, we are trying to read pandas. Already it is read available, but it's okay. I'm reading the Excel file now. So it is all available here. You can see here student performance dot Excel file, which is available. Right click and you get the path, and you can keep it here while reading it. Then show the DF. Let us try to read the file. Yeah, this file we are reading it, XLSX file. Both are same. XLSX package is same. Same package, you can use it. Now show the data frame. So this is data frame having different fields. Clearly we can see here. And I want to show a specific column called as math score. You can display it, a specific column. And I want to find out the mean of this column. Yes, there is a function called as mean. You can use it. So the mean score in math score is 66 out of the class. Then you have describe function. So which is showing you some statistics of your data set. You see, there are three numerical columns which are available in the data set: math score, reading score, and writing score. Okay, in the math score, the total number of records are count variable. First, it is giving 1000 records which are available, all having 1000 values. What is the mean value? Mean means average value. Okay, what is the mean here? What is the mean here? What is the mean? Three values you can see here. It applicable only for numeric values. This is described. You can also use include all like that. There is a parameters available which can be used even for text also, but mostly it is used for numeric values. Then standard deviation within the score is 15.16. What is the minimum value? 0. And these are 25%, 50%, 75%. These are based on your quartiles now, like in the box plot. So 25% of the people are having the score 57 or less. 50% of the people are having the score of 66 or less. 75% of the people, that is, there are four parts we are trying to divide: 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to above 100. So maximum is highest score, minimum is the minimum score. Remaining three are the three intermediate values. One is at the 25th percentage value. 50% means same as your almost like mean value. You see 66.0. It is similar to that mean value. 75% is between, what is the value in between median value and maximum value. In between them, what is the value? That is 75%. Okay, maximum is 100, 50% is 66, 77 is somewhere in between that. Similar to that, 66 and 0, 57 is somewhere in between that, like that. Okay, it calculates automatically. So mostly we are interested in count, mean, standard, and minimum and maximum. These are the values mostly used. Okay, then this is how. Now I want to write the data to a file now. How do you write it? Simple, very. Your data frame dot to Excel and give the file name. Whatever the file name you want to mention, you can mention whatever the data frame content you have, it is written into the Excel file automatically. That is what is done here. So let me, already it's available here. So let me delete it here from this. Okay, I've deleted now. Now I'm trying to write the data frame into the file now. Okay, you see the backup data is created. Now if you want to see the file, open externally. Total Excel file, you can see it. Okay. Use all the auto column width. So now we can see all the scores now. It is having so many fields like gender, race or ethnicity, parental level of education, then lunch, what is the lunch type provided, test preparation course, math score, reading score, right? These are the three columns which are numeric values. That is the reason for these columns we got our statistics. We got it. So this is what is a file. Okay, this is how do you read Excel file and how do you write it to Excel file. Okay, for writing you require Excel WT. Already I told you that if it is installed, directly it is executed without any problem. So this is how you do write it. df.toXL is underscore here. So maybe I say ignore df.toXL, then backup underscore. This is a file name I have given. So a file is created in the project folder with the name backup.xl. It is in the working folder which is created. Okay, next let us come to the data cleansing. Data cleansing means the data in its raw form generally requires some cleaning so that it can be analyzed, such as missing values. So usually whenever you get a data, I have already shown you also previously, like in Titanic data set, you have some NaN values, some missing values are available there. So if you want to perform some operations, these NaN values may be a problem for you. So you must remove them, you must modify them. So there are various options which are available. How do you find the missed values? Then how do you replace the values? Different possibilities are available. We are trying to see it now. Suitably what you assume. First of all, so cleansing means checking the missing values and replacing with the proper values, or removing the rows which are having the missed values. Like any decision you can take it. It's up to the analyst, data analyst, what he can decide. It's up to that, so that your results will be proper. Checking the missing data. And one more point I need to tell you now regarding the ethics of the data science. You should never modify the data. Whatever is available, missing values, yes, you can replace with other values, but existing information, don't modify the data for your results. I want to get some good results like 60% above got 80% marks in subjects like that. I want to modify my data set. No. So always the data set should be used as it is without any modification wherever you download it. So you can manipulate it, you can use it, but don't remove them, some of them, some values you change yourself based on your convenience. It should not be done. So that is the ethics of the data science. Okay. Let us create a data frame with some numbers. Let us try to see now how the empty values are created. How do you manipulate them? Import numpy as np, numpy array we are downloading. Then import pandas as pd. Then we are trying to create a data frame. Df is equal to pd dot data frame. There is a direct function available. np dot random, rand n 5,3. So we are trying to create some values, random values. 5,3. 5 values you are trying to create. Index equal to A0 to A40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. Columns equal to XYZ. I have 3 columns I have given. Using this data frame, let us try to create these values. Okay, you see this. These values are available. So the indices are A0, A10, and so on up to this. And column names are this one. These are XYZ columns. So 2 parameters it requires. Okay, then the index one, this one, and column values. So this random number. So which are generated now. So you see here 5,3. That means 5 rows, 3 columns, random numbers I'm trying to generate. Yesterday we have done it already. How to generate a 2-dimensional array of random numbers. So this is how we have created. If you say df, the output will be displayed to you. Okay, let us try to look at. Okay, this is what we are trying to do. Import numpy as np, read the numerical Python, read the pandas package. Now this is exactly what we have done, 2-dimensional package. So we are running it. Then show the data. Okay, you can see the exact data which is shown there. So these values are random, so they will change it. So XYZ 3 columns. We have 5 indices for the rows which are given here. Index, column names are given, these values are given because it is 5 by 3 matrix which I have created using random numbers. Okay, now let us do something. There is a function called reindex function which is available. So to change the indices, so if you want to reindex it, that means you want to give the new indices. You can give the indexes to the existing data frame. How do you give it? For that you are using the function. Okay, let us do it. df dot reindex. I'm adding some extra rows. A0, A1, A10. Already some are available which are there already. I'm adding some extra rows. So you see A0, A1, A10. In between that I'm inserting extra indices. That means empty rows are created. So A1 like that. These are all available. Now let us see the df2 now. What is available? Let us run this. Try to show the data now. Okay, you observe here. Now whatever you have inserted in the middle extra, these are having NaN values, not a number value, that is missing values because they are empty. I did not store any data from them. For that, these are extra inserted, extra rows inserted, which are empty. So these are NaN you have like this. Here there is a row, here there is a row, here there is a row, which are available here. Okay, these are not a number values or missing values. Now, what are the options available? Let us try to check it. So this is what exactly we have seen, and we have reindexed. df.reindex we have done. So new rows I've added to my data frame. Then you see that these are the clearly you can see this NaN values at various rows which are available. Now to check the NaN values in a column, how many NaNs are available in a column? I want to check it. You can check it using the function. You choose a column name dot is null dot value counts. So you have to use this function to find out how many null values are available within a particular column. Let us go here. So I'm trying to call, taking the X column and trying to is null. So if there is a null value, that is NaN is available, it returns true. If there is not a null value, it returns false. Okay, if it is not null, it returns false. If it is null, it returns true value. So it is nothing but basically it is giving the count of nulls and not nulls. Okay, so value counts. Let us try to run it. Okay, you can see here false are 5, true are 5 within the column X. Okay, false means which are having some values, true means which are empty. So let us see in a data frame this one, whatever you have done. So let us say this is your data frame df2. Let us try to click it. Okay, it is available here. Okay, let us try to change some value here. 0.31, save and close. Save and close the data frame. Okay, I have closed in the memory now. Now let us try to run again. Same thing and try to execute it. Now can you tell me how many false, how many true now? I changed the value not null to a value I have changed now. Can anybody can tell me? Previously it was 5, 5. false or 5, true or 5. Now what is the result? Can you guess? Four false, 6 true. Yeah. So that means you are not following exactly. No. True means empty value. I removed a value and changed it. So now empty values are reduced. So trues are reduced now. So false are 6, trues are 4. Nobody gave the answer. Okay. Let us try to run it now. 6 false, 4 true, because 6 rows are 6 columns, that is cells are having the values now. Okay. Let us try to look at now. Let me run it again. Okay. Can you see here? False are 6, true are 4. False means a value is available. True means value not available. So the previously it was 5. Now I removed 1, replaced with a value. So now I'm getting 4. That is the reason. Okay. Right. Next, let us try to continue the point here. So let me again reindex it from the DF, because I need for another experiment I require it. Okay. Now remove all rows with missing values. I'm creating a data frame by missing all the rows. How equal to any? That means any NA values are available. We are removing the entire row completely. We want to remove it. How is equal to any? That's a method we are trying to use it. So let us try to run it. Now you show the D value now. You see, you got your original data set now. All the empty values are removed. Those rows are removed from here. So this is what is happening here. Okay, let us. What are the options available now? So one option is remove all rows with the missing values. We have done how equal to any. So we have removed it. Now what are the options for filling the values now? Now the question comes, what are the values are available to fill the values? Just 1 second, I am downloading the files. Okay. There are 3 possibilities. First, to replace the null values with 0. So to replace the null values in the df2 data frame with a value of 0, execute the following command. So you see, I am creating a new data frame df3 equal to df2.fillNA 0. df2.fillNA means temporarily the zeros are added and will be displayed, but df2 will not change. So if you store in another data frame, yes, you have the values. Now you show the new data frame now df3. So wherever there is empty, now 0 is substituted here. Otherwise, the problem is when you are make a counting. So the sample is shown here like a blue color. Okay, these are all zeros. Okay, replaced. When you don't have zeros in the count, they will not be displayed. So you must remember that. So that's the difference. Okay, so that's the reason missing values you have to handle it for some of the operations. So let us come back here. Okay, df3 equal to fill line 0. Okay, you see now. Now you got the values here. Wherever NaN are available, they are replaced with zeros automatically. There is a function fill NA with 0. There is another option which is available, which is calling the method equal to pad. Padding means, so you are trying to use the previous cell value will be copied here. Okay, this is called pad, method equal to pad. So that is your second method. To fill the value with forward propagation, this method is called as forward propagation. So if you don't have a 0 value, you borrow it from your previous one. So that means previous value will be forwarded to the next cell. That is called forward propagation, which means that the value of previous to the null value in the column will be used to fill the null value. The following command to be used, that the value of previous cell will be given to you. How do you use it? df2 dot fill NA method equal to pad filling with the forward propagation. Now you see the, let us see the method now. Let us try to run it. Okay, now you can see the value. So let us say this A1 previously having 0 value, now it is replaced with 0.01367, which is the previous value. Same thing here. So this was 0, it is replaced with this one. Like that, okay? Always that is replaced. So in all the columns, we have done the same. So in each column, you pad it. Pad means previous value you copy to the next one. Now you can ask me, it is also like manipulation of the data only. Why it is called clean? This is called cleansing the data, because data is not full, it is empty. So we have to take the meaningful approximation from the existing data set. Sometimes you can take the mean of the column, you can take it, you can fill it, you can take zeros. Okay. Otherwise, whenever you are drawing a graph or something, you will not get the proper output for you. Okay, so you need to look at that. So this is how I am trying to use feed forward. Next option is taking the column mean value and replace it. So without zeros, already you have some values are available within your column. Take the average of that. Using that average, try to fill the value. This is another option which is available to you. This is also a reasonable option. That means roughly estimating the median of your column will be replaced. Mean of your column will be replaced at every place. That is what is done here. Okay, so let us try to look at now. Now A1, this is the mean value of your entire column, X column. That's what we are trying to look at. Let me confirm it here. So there are some functions which are called aggregate functions. Let us see X column mean. Okay, you see 0.2104. So this is a 0.2104. Okay, the column mean value will be replaced at every 0 place in each individual column, replacing with column mean. So same value is not repeated for all of them. Every column mean is different. So that column mean is replaced in the corresponding NAN position. This is what is done here. This is the third method we have. Okay. This is a forward propagation. This is the method is with the column mean. So we are calling using df2.mean and we are trying to show this data here. Now clear? We have done. So there are three methods: filling with zeros, or filling with padding, that is forward propagation, that is copying from the previous cell value. Third method is taking the average of the column values and replacing at not available values. That is the missing places you try to replace. These are the three common methods used. You can think of, these are the common operations which are used regularly. Next, we are trying to come to data aggregation operations. Aggregation means always refers to some group of data items is called as aggregate. So if you do any operation on the aggregate, it is called data aggregation operations. So what are the examples? Finding the mean of some elements, maximum from the elements, minimum from the elements, standard deviation from the given elements, sum, count. These are the functions which are called as aggregate functions. Aggregate means acting in a group. Sum of them, average of them, count of them, like that. Average is found by mean. Average is nothing but mean function. So you don't have average function is available. So mean is nothing but average only. Okay. How do you call these functions? Take the column name, call the corresponding function. What is the mean value? What is the sum value? What is the minimum value? What is the standard deviation? What is the count? What is the maximum? Okay. Now suppose if you have 0, all rows are counted. If you don't have zeros, NANs are available, those rows will not be counted. You see here the df2, when I say count, NANs are not counted. Like even Excel also, when you make a sum value in the Excel sheet, if the empty cells are ignored, same case here, NANs are not counted, but actually there is a row, there is a cell. It may not be properly done when you are making some manipulation of the cells. So you must be careful. So NANs are not counted. Okay. Whereas other rows are counted with 0 values are counted. That is the reason we're trying to manipulate it. Let us come here now. Let us try to execute each of them one by one. So let us see the mean. So this is a mean value you have. This column mean. So let us see the sum of. This is sum of the values because some are negative, some are positive. So this is the result now. So what is the minimum value which is available? So which is less than 0. This is available. Some are 0. It is minus, no, it is less than 0. There's a minimum value available. What is the standard deviation from the cell? So this is the standard deviation which is available from the cell. You can see here. Then you have count how many rows you have. You see how many rows it is showing? Only 5. That means NaNs are not counted. But when you go to DF3, because DF3 I filled with zeros now, so DF3 will have all the 10 rows. So next let us try to find out the maximum value here. Okay, you can see this is the maximum value within the column. Then how many DF3 dot count I am doing now? Now all the rows are counted, they are having 0 values. Okay, you see now 10. All the elements are counted. Because NaNs are replaced with zeros, now the count is 10. So this is the difference. So you must understand why the missing values to be handled. So in some of the functions, if you don't correctly handle it, there may be a problem in using them. Okay. Now let us, if you want to describe some of the statistics already I told you, you can use a describe function. There is also a function which is called as info. When I go into some other set, we try to use it. So let us try to execute this line. You see, for this column, I'm trying to describe the statistics of this. How many count? 10, mean of that standard deviation, minimum 25%, 50%, 75%, maximum. So these are available here. Okay. So I told you already this one. So let us come to the next point. Next, we are calling it as descriptive statistics. Like whatever you have done just now, mean, average, mean value and maximum value, minimum value. These are called descriptive statistics. Using this, we get an idea how we are trying to get. For example, you take height of students. Let us say height of person. I am making a mean, average I am making now. How does it matter? We take the average. How does it matter? What is the use of making average of heights? All of them. Okay. The idea here is what is the average height of a person in that group? That what is the meaning of that mean now? That's the reason these statistics values are very important to analyze the data items. That's the reason these are called descriptive statistics of a data set. We can infer some information. We can make some inference using those statistics on the data set. Okay, that's how we are trying to do it now. Okay, let us try to look at now. Important import pandas as PD. You are using student performance data. Previously, we are reading it. Then df.describe. Just we have done the previous one. Then df.info. There is another function called info function to show the column information. What each column is having. What is the type of the data? So whenever you are trying to analyze the data set, use these two functions. One is describe, one is info. These two are very, very important to analyze the descriptive statistics of the data. So these two are very important. Okay. You must use them to know the data. What the nature of the data, what records are available, how they are available, and so on. Data types. Okay, let us see. If I use describe, I'm trying to get these are the outputs which I'm trying to get now. Okay, because I told you this describe function will work on numeric items only. So I'm trying to use math score, reading score, writing score, which are all the scores are shown here. These are available. So let us try to do this statistics now here. So let us go for student performance data. Okay. So let us already PD is available. We are trying to read it. Okay, let us come back. We are trying to describe now. So these are the scores, statistics of this one. So if you look at now, the average score in the math scale is around 66 roughly. Highest somebody got maybe 1000 and maybe somewhere as 1000. It's a count, number of records 1000. Mean value is 66, maximum value is 100, and the minimum value is 0. Okay, so these are the lowest values of average 57. Then the minimum values, I told you 4 ranges: minimum value, maximum value. There are 3 more values at 25% level, 50% level, and 75%. 50% level is nothing but your mean value. Okay, that's what exactly you are trying to look at. So these are the statistics which are there. Now let us try to look for the other function which is called info. Let us try info function. Let us try to say invalid syntax. Okay, we have to enter proper. Okay, now it is removed. Now it is taking some time to, because I am entering in the middle, so the interpreter is little taking time to understand the sentence. Okay, now df.info. Okay, you can see here column name, non-null or not, how many non-null elements are available is a count. Then data type, what you have. Gender is non-null 1000. That means there is no problem, no missed values. And data type you have. So you can as well, you can see from here also. So maybe I am using the df data frame here. You can see from here. Okay, this is your, already we have seen, I have shown you in the Excel file now. So these are some of the parameters which are available. These are all described here now. Okay, what's the count and everything, it is shown here. So this is, what are the field names, column names I want, what are their data type I want, I can show it. These are, only these 3 are integers, into 64, into 64, into 64, remaining all objects, some values they have. Okay, maybe like strings or something else like that. So these 2 functions are important to read the descriptive statistics of the data sets. Okay, now let us try to look at some visualizations. So we are going to see in the case studies now, in the coming case studies, we try to see some 2 simple case studies today. Then how do you use, we are trying to use Seaborn package, we are trying to use it. So we are studying the Titanic dataset case study from Kaggle for data analysis. We are trying to use this dataset contains the details of each passenger on the Titanic and also whether they survived or not. Okay, that is what it is showing now. First field is survival. We have seen already survival. 0 means not survived. 1 means yes, survived. Passenger class, there are 3 values. First, 1 for first class, 2 for second, 3 for third class. Then you have a name, you have a sex code, that is male or female. Then you have age, then sibling status. Number of siblings or spouses abroad. How many they are traveled together along with a particular person. That what is the figure it is. The number of parents or children aboard. Along with them, how many children are going now? That is also we are trying to show it. Ticket number, fare, cabin. Okay, cabin usually some cabin number they can mention. Embarked. This is port of embarkation. 3 different stations we have for the ship. We are trying to mention it. Then boat is lifeboat. Body number. If not, this may be part of, in the Titanic dataset there are 2 or 3 variations available. In some of them, some fields are there. In some of them, are not there. Up to embarked are there in some of them. In some of them, these 2 fields are not available. But generally, this is a description of the fields. Now we try to analyze the data for which passengers mostly survived. This is roughly, we are trying to roughly, when you look at now, my problem is we are trying to show the data and analyze the data. So who are survived? Maybe male or female or with siblings. How many count of the people are survived? we can show from the graph these things. Okay, using data analysis, you can use it for interpreting some of the results. Okay, from data graphs also you can infer some meanings. Sometimes numeric values are required to get the value from the data. That also can be done. That will be done through machine learning or whatever it is that can be done extra. You can see from tomorrow classes. Here you can see how we are using the package called as CBarn. It is a data visualization package available for data science, which is part of your Anaconda. It is directly installed, so easily you can use a very beautiful graphs you can get from this. So I'm using CBarn today. Then import pandas as PD. Then train equal to pd.read CSV Titanic dataset. Just already I told you that dataset you are trying to read it here. Then train.describe. So I'm trying to describe the structure. So roughly I'm trying to show it to know the nature of the data. Always you try to do describe and info. Two functions you have to apply whenever you download a data set. Then another one, each column is null. Is null means how many false, how many true you have. Okay. Whenever there is true, you need to replace with the values. Then print your Titanic data. That is train is my data frame. So I'm using the train. The data set is displayed. Now display a specific column up to this fine. Then print this column I'm trying to display. Yeah. Now there is, instead of doing every column and finding out the missing values, there is a way of finding out missing values using heat map. There is a plot called as heat map plot. Using that, you can find out. So there are different parameters, every parameter we cannot see, we can practice it, by looking at the CBarn data visualization manual. It can be the documentation can be downloaded from the web. It's open source only. You can see different parameters are available. So some parameters are taken here. Okay. Let us see how this works, how the missing values are shown here. Okay, you see. These are all my fields now. So I told you some fields may be extra here. You see. Remaining all are having the values except these two columns. So which column is having these yellow color are missing values? Okay. Now you see cabin is having mostly missed now. That means that column is not important. So you can remove that column for your analysis. Not required. Anyway, it is not filled up. How do you replace the missing values? Even if you replace with 0, there is no use. That means this column is not so important. So you can remove that. Not important. Then age. Here also some missing values. You can think of replacing the values if required in the analysis. It's up to the analyst's responsibility whether to replace or not, because if it is not available, some average value, mean of that column can be replaced as a suitable suggestion, because age cannot be 0. So the average of that column can be replaced in the place of age now. So this is how do you find the missed values easily without having the function executing everything. That is the power of these graphs now. So using the graph, you know what is happening. What about your data set? You can use this method to use it. Okay. Let us try to go for our spider. Let us go to the Titanic data set analysis. Okay. I'm importing the package now, CBarn package. Let us try to clear these variables, because when my memory is filling up, these are always available in the memory. So plots can also be cleared here. So new plots are coming. Okay. Now let us try to import the CBarn package. CBarn is a data visualization package. So we are trying to import it. It is imported. Then pandas we are importing. Matplotlib, if you want, we can use it. That's the reason I have imported. We can use it later. So now we are reading the Titanic dataset. Just I told you how to read it, how to read the CSV file. Okay, reading is over. Then describe the dataset. So already we have done. Statistics are shown here. For each of the numeric values, different values are shown, like count, mean, and everything. Okay, that is shown here. Okay, the values are shown here. Then let us show the data set. which is available. So it's already loaded here. Train data set is available in the memory. Before going out, I have shown you here. So this is your data set which is available. You see NAN is available in the age. Okay. You see cabin, mostly NAN. Can you see here? You can observe here. Cabin is mostly having the NAN values. By observing physically like this also you can know which are missing, which columns are mostly missing value, that can also be done. But graph is easier. Without looking at the frame, directly I can tell you what values are missing from the graph. Here you see the age. At few places you have the missing values. Remaining all are filled without any trouble. Okay. Now let us come to this now. Showing one column, specific column, age column as a sample. This is the age column I'm trying to show it. Now this is a heat map now. Train dot is null. So that is given as an input now from the data set of y tick up, that is y axis is false. Remaining some parameters here, default parameters you are trying to take. We are not taking anything variation. So you are trying to use it now. Let us run it. Okay. The plot is generated. It is available in the, you see here, plots. Okay. Can you see the same plot? It's available. This is, if you want to generate a copy in your notes. So there is a function here is copy to clipboard function. So this graph is copied and you can copy wherever in the notes or in the presentations, wherever you want to copy, you can copy it here from here. Okay. So this is how we have to copy the plots. Okay. Now let us come to the next discussion. As we can see from the diagram, the column age and cabin have got null values. These two are having the null values. While cabin has huge amount of null values, age has moderate amount of null values. Age is having some less number of null when compared to cabin. Here we would drop the cabin column as it has got mostly null values. If there is any column which are having mostly null, means there is no use of that column. You can remove them. Unnecessarily you are wasting the memory size and computation time, unnecessarily loading and without any meaningful usage of that. So you can remove that. Okay. So we are trying to remove it. To do so, we shall use the following code. Train dot drop a particular column you want to drop it. So train, that is data frame dot drop and your column name. Some parameters you are trying to use. Axis equal to 1. These are parameters which are passed when I want to delete a column now. So axis equal to 1, in place equal to true. When you call this one, then you are trying to remove that column. So let us try to look at now this one. This is, I'm running this column. Removed. Now train.info. Okay, you can see now. Now only there are 10 columns now. Cabin column is removed. Okay. That is what is shown here. So here if you look at now non-null count, here also from this info also you can see in the age 714 are non-null out of 891. So remaining are null values. From here also you can see from the info is also another way. It is graphically showing from this info you can get the value. How many are not null? You can see 714 are not null. This is non-null values and out of 891 remaining are null values. That is what is showing here. Okay, that is also one more useful method of this finding out. Then let us look for the next what we can do with this graph. Let us try to. Now let us try to know if the dependent variable survived has any relation with the variable sex code, male or female. Is there any relation between survived? That what you are trying to see now. So as per general problem description, females were mostly survived when compared to male, because you know male were sacrificed for the female and many of the female were survived. So that was a conclusion from that problem. So let us see now how do you make out this graph. SNS again Cban package I am using, already I have imported, I am using that one. It is called as factor plot. SNS dot factor plot, x equal to survived, column equal to sex code, kind equal to count. So it's a counting plot, basically factor plot you are counting. data equal to your data set. So now this graph is generated, single graph, survived. It is based on column is equal to sex. No, this is one is male, one is female column. That is what is shown here. Okay, one is male, one is female. So here out of these male, only these are survived. Okay, these are survived figures, and from the female, and if you look at many are survived, and again this it is showing some 0 and 1. Yes, how many are survived, how many are not survived. So 0, if you look at 0 means false, not survived. 1 means survived. 0 means not survived. 1 means survived from the male category, from the female category. So in female there are more survived than deaths. Okay, here also you see here more deaths than survivals here. Okay, this is what is shown. Let us see the graph here. Factor plot, x equal to survived, column is equal to sex code, kind equal to count, data equal to train. Let us try to run it. Yeah, this exact graph we are trying to show. How many are survived? 0 means not survived, 1 means survived. So less survived people when compared to the female people. Understand? So that is the code here. Okay, let us try to look at in another way of relation. Let us try to understand it. Now what is the inference now? As we all know from the movie as well as the story of the Titanic, females were given priority while saving passengers. The above graph also tells us the same story. More number of male passengers have died than female ones. So that is what is the inference from the graph. So this graph data visualization is also very important in analyzing the data. So many of the conclusions can be drawn from your data. Okay, so that is the example. So next one. Similarly, let us try to see how the variable passenger class is related to the variable survived. Okay, according to the passenger class. Let us try to looking at now. Okay, so let us say this is not survived. This is survived. This is survived. This is not survived. Okay, you see now. Passenger class 3 mostly died. You see this bar indicates. Passenger 1 first class people less died. Second class people little more. Third class passengers mostly died. They could not save them. Okay. Now this is your survival rate. These are death rates. These are survival rates. You see more first class passengers are survived when compared to the second class and third class. You can see from the graph clearly. So this can be done by a count plot. SNS dot count plot x equal to survived comma hue means it's a color. Hue means it's a color variation. For that I am giving the category. There are 3 classes already, you know it. 0, 1, 2, 3 classes. Or 1, 2, 3, 3 classes here in the category. So as per the category we are trying to displace data equal to training data set. Let us come back to this one. Okay, let us try to run it here. Okay, you see now same graph. Left one is died, right one is survived because survivor code no 0 code and 1 code. 0 means died, 1 means survived. You see more number of first class people are survived. That is the conclusion. So let us come back here. So what is the conclusion inference we are getting from this graph now? The graph tells us that P class 3 were more likely to be survived. It was meant for the richer people while P class 1 were the most likely victims, which was relatively cheaper than class 3. Class 1, class 2, class 3. Okay, that's what you are. This is what you are trying to look at now. Let us try to understand the column. Next one is siblings. Are there any siblings while traveling? I want to know. Okay, this is what you are trying to see. We will try to again use a count plot from C bar. So we are trying to use it to see this particular data. Let us try to look at now. Okay, this is a SNS.count plot x equal to sibling and spouses. Using this parameter, we are trying to count plot how many siblings have been traveled. Have traveled in the Titanic ship. Data is equal to train. Let us try to run this now. Okay. Many number of passengers traveled alone, no siblings, zero. Zero sibling or spouse. Okay, there may be few people, around 200 people traveled with one person, accompanying person. There are few people accompanying with 2, accompanying with 3, 4, 5 and 8. So that means only one family or all families individual traveled. This will give you an idea. Okay, so this is what is about your siblings now. Analyzing the siblings. So that is how we are trying to look at. Always when you draw a graph, it will give you an idea exactly what the idea of the graph. So sibling or spouse variable refers to the number of sibling or spouse the person was accompanied with. We can see most of the people came alone. So this is what is the, how do you do the analysis now? I am using Seaborn package. You can also use Matplotlib also, but Seaborn is having more visualization features when compared to the Matplotlib. Both are used. Many people will use both of them, Matplotlib or Seaborn, both can be used. Okay. Now let us see. So what are the package we have used up to now is called Seaborn package. Seaborn is a data visualization library that extends the graphical range of the Matplotlib library. It is an extension you can think of advanced visualizations which are available here, beautiful visualizations. So let us try to find out another case study. Let us try to look at now. There is a tips data set which is available from Seaborn itself. Seaborn library itself, there is a data set called as tips data set. This data set is talking about, the data set contains information about a restaurant, the tips given to the waiters, amount of tip, size of the customer group, a party of 3, 4 or 5 like that. That is a group of the party. So that is what you are maintaining the information. So how much tip a group has given to a particular waiter, how much they have given. That is what is the idea here. That is the data set now. We are importing the Seaborn package. Tips data set equal to SNS.load data set. And remember, if a particular data set is available within the package, so directly you can use a method load data set. You need not, because you are not reading from externally from other files, you can use this function directly. So it is tips data set is equal to SNS, your package name, that is dot load underscore data set and your data set name if it is available within the data set. Okay. Let us try to look at now tips.dataset.head. It will show you the first few records. It is showing here first 5 records starting from 0. Total bill amount. Okay. What is the tip given out of for this bill amount? Who has given, whether male or female, that is a smoker or not, day, time, dinner time and so on, lunch time and so on, breakfast, size of the party. Okay, there is a female is leading this particular team with having 2 people in that particular team. So this is a data set now. Okay. Okay, now let us try to load the data set first into our, this is our tips dot data set. So let us remove these plots so that our memory will be saved. The system will work fast. Okay, let us come to here, import Seaborn package, tips data set, because it's already available within the data set. You say load data set and your data set name. Okay, we are using here. The data set is read. Now load first few rows. Okay, you can see here whatever I have shown you there. Total bill, tip, sex code for that group, that is mostly which group it is, male or female group, then smokers or not, day, which is Sunday, Monday, like that, time, which time, and the size of the group, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay, so this is a group which you have seen now. So same thing is loaded in the variable explorer also as well. Like we are seeing everything here also, we can see here. Same data set is available here also. Okay, always you try to refer to the data set here. You see, do you have any NAN values here? Nothing. How do I know whether NANs are available or not? I told you two methods. You can observe from the data frame by opening, or if you want to see it, then your data set dot info. This will give you an idea. Okay, you see, all rows are equal. You see, 244, 244, all are non-null only. That means there is no NAN value within the data set. So it's a perfect data set because already it's built in, which is available here. So that is what you are using. Okay, this is how you find out here. You can see from here, or from the graph. Okay. Now let us try to do what is the assumption we are trying to get here. What the value we are getting from this data? Let us try to look at now. We are trying to draw a graph. This is a distribution of the plot. Distribution plot it is called as. It looks like a histogram. Tips data set on the total bill. I'm trying to draw it. Bins equal to 20 and KD equal to false. These are some default parameters which are available here. So bins means I'm trying to distribute the total data into 20 bins. So usually in the statistics, bin means 0 to 10 is one range, then 11 to 20 is second range, 21 to 30 third range, like that. We are trying to distribute it now. Okay, these are called as bins now. More number of bins you have, then the more distribution of the data you have. Okay, so if you want to have the less number of bins, more data will come into that one. It's up to you based on the data sets, how many records you have. So whether your data is properly distributed or not, all that you have to consider before making this one. So let us try to draw this graph now. So to this graph, let us try to change some parameters. We try to see the effect now. So let us try to look at now. So this is a graph distribution plot. Okay, this is the plot which is available. Okay, you can see here exactly. So if you observe from here, maximum bill amount is around, it is coming in this bin now. It is around, this is a count. How many counts you have? Total bills, how many bills they made between. So within the bills, around 20 bills, around 35 to 40 bills are within the range of 10 to 20 bin they got it now. So 50 bill is very few. Few bills are made up to $50 or something like that. Okay, maximum number of bills are made in this between $10 to $20. So this is a maximum number of bills. So this distribution clearly tells you exactly where is your item. And some more times, if this histogram is like this, only one side, especially in the machine learning, when you're going to the machine learning and analyzing using automatic learning of your systems, your data must be uniformly distributed. Only one side you have. Remaining only this graph is only one side, remaining all are empty. Then you don't learn anything from that. Okay, your data must be distributed across the different classes. Then only you can study well. Okay, that is what's the assumption you are trying to get now. Let us try to change these parameters now. So instead of this bins 20, let us make this bins as 30 now. The distribution is reduced now. Okay, I'm making 30 bins instead of 20 bins. Up to between 244 records, I'm making 30 groups. So more you have. Okay, less you have, less number of bins. More data is distributed. Okay, so you can adjust according to your choice. You see now I made only 10 bins now from 244, the graph. So you can adjust according to your data, number of items and so on. Not too much less. Too many bins means almost like one record will come in one bin. It does not look nice. So if you want to make a group, so make into some reasonable number of bins. So I am making by default as 20. That's what I made in the graph. Okay. So this is. Next one is you're trying to make some relation plot, or we are trying to find out the relation now. Relation between total bill and the tip. With what bill people have given, what much tip they have given. So usually there is a conclusion that, you know, if you have $100, people are expecting more tip. Okay, if it's a bill amount is only $10, people expecting less tip. There is a concept. So what is happening here? Let us try to see now. So let us try to draw this graph here. Okay, total bill. This is like a relation. It is also called as like a scatter plot. It is not a line plot. It's called as a scatter plot. For every x value, there is a y value. You see now. So you see the tips are around between 0 to $10. The tip $1 to $10 here. The maximum is $10 tip is given when the bill was made as $50. You can see the relation clearly. So 50 and this one, you can see it here. Okay. So this is what is called as relation, showing relation between two parameters as a scatter plot, which you are trying to show it here. Okay, this is a graph now. So let us try to look at relational plot. Okay, let us try to, yeah, already this is drawn here now. This is a relation now. So you see what is the total, what is the maximum bill is available here? You can see from the graph here, 50 is the maximum bill. So for 50 point, the tip was given as $10, the tip. This is a maximum tip was given. Okay, for $50 when the bill amount was $50. Likewise, you know, many of the tips were given during this particular group. That is from when the bill was made between 10 to 30. The larger population is available here, you know, 10 to 30. Larger population is available here. The tip is ranging between $1 to $6 mostly. Okay, remaining are very less, few dots. That means few points you have at these points. Now let us try to make. Now who gave the maximum tip now, whether male or female? Let us try to look at now. Now here we are trying to make hue equal to sex. Now already we have seen, now previously I said hue means like color. It is like, you know, shade of the color. So hue equal to sex code. Male and female, you have two things. So when I pass this total bill and tip data equal to same thing, now the meaning of the graph, you know, becomes more meaningful. Same graph. Now you see here. You see the graph now. You can observe here. Sex, male and female. Who gave the maximum tip now? The group is male group. They made $50 bill. They gave $10 tip now. So it's clearly visible from the graph when I made the selection using hue now. So this is what is done here. Are you following? So this is how we are making some inferences from the data. So let us try to draw the graph here. This is a plot. Tip versus tip data set and having sex code as your hue color. Okay, this is what now. Who gave the maximum tip from the graph? You can observe that. So this male group has given the maximum tip for $10 when the bill amount was made as $50. Okay. Now this is what you are trying to look at. Okay, next let us see how it is to observe variation between the three main parameters within the data: total bill, tip and size. Now let us try to look at the three parameters now. There is a total bill is there, group size is there, tip is there. These three I want to analyze. Combinedly I want to analyze. How do I analyze? So there is a concept which is called as pair plot. Two variables will be grouped together and the plots will be drawn automatically. So that is the use of this pair plots. Two variables, three variables I have, but between any two variables I want to find out the relation. Instead of drawing everything separately, all of them you can draw in a single plot, which is available from this pair plot. Pair means the name itself is indicating that you are trying to analyze the relation between two elements every time. Okay. So SNS dot pair plot, tips data set, again color equal to sex, that is hue equal to sex, palette is equal to code. This is one type of the selection of the palette. Different palettes may be available. We have to see the documentation, full documentation. We can select any of them, whatever you want. Full is available, full warm is available, like that. Some color you can select. See how easy it is to observe the variation between the three main parameters within the data, which are nothing but total bill, tip and size. The category sex has also been passed to observe the trends in that wise. That means between the relations between these three things along with the fourth parameter, male and female. That is a hue, as because only two colors I have. So I'm passing as a color parameter. So I can observe all these relations which is available here. For each instance where a variable being compared with itself, we get a kernel density estimate or a histogram if specified. Then comparisons are made via scatter plots. Okay. Now this is the pair plot. Now you see now. How do you read this plot here? If you can observe here, on the horizontal, three main parameters are given. You see here. Pair plot, tips data set I have given. Automatically it takes the numerical parameters are taken automatically here. 2 equal to color. You see here now. Three main parameters here: total bill, tip and size of the group. And whenever total bill and total bill, horizontal and vertical are the same parameters, you will get the density distribution. How many male are there, how many female are there, total bill amount. So the distribution, it is not nothing but like one parameter, like a histogram, it's a distribution is given. Okay, for all the values. Only when these two are same, horizontal, vertical, like there is a reason you see the diagonal. These diagonals are nothing but density distributions according to the color, male or female. So this is a female distribution group. That means the women group size is distributing between around 1 to 6. Okay, many groups are with 2. You can see here. Many groups are having the size of 2 here. Okay, under the male, many of the group size are 2. Okay, and 6 people are having only few groups. Okay, this is what is the relation. Let us come here now. Total bill. What is the maximum group? What is the bill made now? 60. If you look at now, up to 50, it is made by male people. We can see from the previous graph also. We have already seen here. You can see here now the 50 was made by male. Okay, that is also reflected here. The bill amount, total bill amount, male and female wise. Maximum bill which was done by the female is this one, maybe around 45, and maximum bill was made by the male people is around $50. So that can be shown here. So overall, maximum bills were made are around 20. Maximum bill amount was 20 here. You can see here. Either male side or female side, almost it is 20 only. This is female category. This is male category. Okay, maximum bill made by the groups were either 20 maximum. That's the distribution it is saying. Coming to this one, tip. What is the tip given? So most number of time, mostly many of the waiters have received the tip of $5 in average, 4 to 5 maximum. Okay, this is the tip they have received. This is from male. This is from female. Okay, this is what you are trying to mention here. Okay, male group and female group, how much they have given. This is how many times they have given the tip. What is the dollar tip they have given. So when coming here now, maximum $10, maybe 1 or 2 here. This is what the distribution. So that is the importance of this diagonal column in your pair plot. Okay. Now let us see the other relations now. Total bill and the tip. What is the relation between the total bill and the tip? Is there any relation between the total bill and the tip? Usually we try to look at now total bill and the tip. When the bill amount made is 50, then the tip was given as 10. So yes, there is a relation. When the bill amount is more, the more tip is given here. Okay, that is what the understanding from this graph. So what is the understanding? Many of the bills are made between around 10 to around 10 to this 40, 10 to $40. Many of the bills are made in between this, either by male or female. That's the conclusion from this particular graph here. Let us, what is the relation between the total bill and the size? You see here, 50, it was made by the size of 6 people, $50. And this is the male, again you see male and female, and their size was 6, it was made. And $5, when they are having the size, they made the bill of these things. So it is showing the relation between total bill amount and the size of the group who made these particular bills now. Okay. Now coming to the relation between the tip and the size. Okay, is there group sizes affecting your tip size? Let us try to look at now. 6 members group, they gave around $8 tip. But you see the interesting conclusion here. If you can see here, when the group size was 3, they gave the maximum tip. You see here, when the group size is 3, you can come here and you can find out the maximum tip was given is $10. The group size was only 3. That means the hypothesis, or if the assumption, if you make that more is the group, more is the tip, need not be true. As per this graph, you can observe the relation clearly. The group size was only 3, not 6, but still they have given the maximum tip. Okay, that's the relation you can identify here. The relation between the tip and the size of the group. Okay, this you can clearly observe. So sometimes see the size is 1, the tip is usually less. Then 2, the relation you can see what is the tip value. Maximum is 10 value, so maybe 9 or something like that. Okay, these are the 4, 2, 2 is the maximum group sizes. All the tips are in between them only, mostly. Okay, so this is what is the relation between size and the tip. Now what is the relation between the size and the total bill? You can see here, what is the size, what is the group, what is the bill they made. $50, it is made by the size of only 2 people, not even more. Group size is small, but still they made the highest bill. But there is a relation already we have studied previously. More the bill, more the tip. More the tip they get it. That we already observed it. When the total bill is more, then you get the more tip. You see the relation here, $50 here, $10 is a tip. That is the relation is we can understand from this graph. So here regarding the size, so there is a misconception. More is the group size, more is the tip is given. No, even size is less, the tip can be given more. You can see here. Total, they can make the more size. So here is a $50 bill they made. The group size is only very less. This is the size of the group. Another relation between size and the tip. Size and tip. Small size can also give higher tip. That is also we are trying to reflect here. Okay. Now this is between tip and the size again. So between the tip and the size, another way of showing the relationship, we are trying to show it. So you see the dots, females are violet color and male are blue color. Both are shown here now. You can see available here. So this is about your pair plot. How do you understand a pair plot? Is it clear for you, all of you? Yeah, the diagonal and the remaining relations between every 2 parameters you are trying to understand. Okay, next let us try to look at SNS count plot. I'm trying to draw based on the sex code, male or female. Okay, data equal tips data set. Okay, so you see here male count, how many times they have given the tip now, how much? So around this many times they have given the tip. Female around 80 times they have given the tip. Male are given the tip around 150 number of times they have given the tip. So this is we can see from the graph. So same thing. Now let us try to go for the pair plot now. Okay, we are here. Okay, you can see the pair plot here. So you can change the color if you want. So it is not clear, that's the reason I have not used. You can change based on your choice. Let us make it to cool color. It is not visible, the color is not visible. You can use as per your choice. You can see here. So this is a cool color. Okay, you can set it as per your requirement by reading the documentation. Okay, this is only whatever we are trying to look at. Different basics we are trying to cover. Okay, it is up to you. How do you analyze? How do you use the information from your side? Okay, now let us come back here. To validate this, whatever we have seen from the graph, let us try to validate this from the pandas package also. There is a pandas package available, group by method is available. Using that I can find the count. Pandas is imported when error comes. Suppose if the pandas is already not available, import it and you do the operation. Import pandas as PD, importing pandas to use group by class. Tips dataset dot group by sex code dot count. So you are making group by, at the same time you are counting also. Both of them you are trying to do here. Okay, this is what you're trying to look at. Okay, you can see here. Sex code, male, female, total bill. Okay, 157 times they have done. Female have given 87 times. Anyway, because every row is having this count automatically. Tip also given 157 times, 87 times. Smoker 157, 87. These are the same records. This is the count, which is the confirmation from this graph now. Okay, so this is what you are trying to see, the C bar package. Okay, so this is what's the count we can run from here. So we are left with the count plot. So this is a count plot which I have seen in the document. So how many male? Around 157 you have here the count. Here around 87. Okay, it is available here. We can see from there. Then you can also find out using group by class, because we have already, if it is imported, not problem. Because I am using it, you must import the pandas package. So let us try to import it. Import pandas. Okay. It may give error. If it is not giving error, no problem. Only if it gives error. So whatever you have seen in the document now, this is the count you have. Total bill, tip, smoker, day, and 157 are male and 87 are female. So you see how advantageous it is for us to look at now. So let me show you some of the data sets, popular data sets which are available. Saudi open data sets. This is a portal. Data sets are available. You see how many data sets are available. These are all can be downloaded and can be used without any problem. Ministry of Environment, General Authority, Ministry of Health. So let us try to click it. Manpower in MOH primary healthcare centers by region, category, sex and nationality. So you see various formats are given. You see that's the reason we are trying to understand. This is a CSV format. Okay, this is XLSX format, Excel format and CSV. These are other one. JSON. This is also popular now nowadays. You can also use JSON also. XML. We are not going to, because this is more popularly we are using now. We can also use JSON. Okay, when you are using web services now, JSON is more popular format for using web services. When you transfer the data over the web, JSON is like a text file, just like a notepad file, like a CSV. Easy to transfer because it's a lightweight, what you can say, lightweight file, unlike your XLS file. Okay, you require to understand this one. So JSON can be directly read from the package. That's the reason we are using JSON XML. These are available here. So what are the fields you have here? Women additional info you have. So category health and women related data set is available. You can download from here. So you can preview before downloading. If it is useful for you, then you can download it. So anyway, this is empty here. This website, maybe they are also directly given the data API also given. So please use it based on your requirement. What are the data sets? Just whatever the things we have learned here, try to compare with this and apply onto these websites. You try to look at now. So these are all available here. Let us try to look at workforce. Maybe it may be working. Let us try to look at preview. Okay, some data is available here. You can see from here. Okay. So download these data sets. And another one already I have shown you, Kaggle data site. It is for competitions as well as for data sets downloading. You can use it for. There are also open data sets available. So many repository open data sets. Just you type it. Different data sets you try to. You will get it now. Open for everyone. Not only Saudi. Machine learning from Kaggle you have. Then US government open data sets are available here. Okay. Then World Bank open data set which is available. The various countries data different. Even COVID data set is also available. In the Kaggle, COVID data set is available. You can analyze the data. Okay. This is what is available. Okay. Let me show you one application. COVID. What we have done something on COVID. Just I would like to show you. It is COVID India data prediction. COVID paper. So this is a data set. COVID-19 Saudi Arabia version 10 data set is available. So this we have collected from various sources. We have basically studied the relation between the lockdown and the COVID cases. What is the effect here? You can see here now. Daily we have done ourselves. Some of them we have downloaded. Some of them we have added here. So daily cumulative cases, indicators, then the date and event. What the event happened. So how many total cases? Okay. Then in Riyadh, Makkah, we have 4 regions we have divided. To Riyadh, Makkah and different cities are given here. All the count. So as the dates are progressing, you see the. So you can see from the graph, the first case of COVID was identified on 2nd March. Where it was identified? It was identified in Qatif. This was the first case in Saudi Arabia, COVID-19 on March 2nd. So this is different tables are given here from different cities. Then it's the demographics. So we have done our rate, spreading rate, different things we have done, how the spreading rate was done. So you can also see here. Okay, you can see here COVID-19 studies of lockdown. So we have studied the correlation between and we are trying to the problem statement is we have studied the curfew implementation patterns and their correlation with the spread of COVID-19 infection in Saudi Arabia, covering 17 most affected cities, covering more than 80% of the cases in Saudi Arabia. So all the data may not be available here. So these are done as one case, these all cities, because their lockdown pattern was same, no curfew, night curfew, full curfew. Okay, then these are some districts, we have some regions available, again no curfew, night curfew, full curfew. In Makkah region, Makkah is separate because a lot of cases we have no curfew, night curfew and full curfew. Again Medina, we have separate cases we have taken, and these are all the cases we have studied from this. The correlation we have identified. So these are the cases, how the cases were increasing. Number of cases in 9 cities over the time period. from March 19 to June 9th of 2020, I think it is. It is March 19, yes. So how the progress for various, this is how region wise, you see, it's like a hue, no? Full curfew, night lockdown status based on this. So these are identified in different regions. Here you can see here. Okay, how the cases on different regions. So this sometimes, you know, these relations are not clear, drastic. Even the lockdown also cases are improving sometimes. Okay, this is the way to identify the correlations. So this is a rejection region for one tail. These are, you know, statistical tests, some of them. So this is a correlation we have. So we are trying to, so this is how based on your interest, you can download the corresponding data set and you can start just analyzing them just for your interest. Okay. So this is what we have done, some of the case studies today. Yes, any questions from you now? Yes, all of you. Okay. Okay, day 2 guide already I have given to Khalid. He will participate. I will circulate to everyone. And Khalid.